We got two people that's never done it before that are going to do it for the first time on this stage. And I don't know why we've popped so many people's comedy cherries, but I guess they feel comfortable coming here and it feels safe. And Matt definitely feels safe because his crew could probably beat the rest of us up. So y'all make sure you laugh good for them. I think I'm going to have Duane come up. And it's his first time. He was down here, I think, not planning on performing. And he was like, I've always thought about it. And I was like, you should do it because I ain't got nobody else in the slot. So, I'm just going to call him Duane. Everybody give it up for Duane for his first time.
That's a bright ass light. So, the thing about adulting is, it's not what you think it is growing up. Growing up, you think about adult shit, you know? You go to your buddy's house, watch him skin a max, drink a beer, have somebody slip you a 40. That's the adult shit. You don't realize until you're probably 25 what adulting really is. A little background on me. My dad's one of 12 kids, okay? His dad croaked when he was 13. So they grew up pretty rough. My dad, he did the adulting. A couple of my uncles did not, okay? Dad had two basic rules. It says that what you need to do growing up is you need to pay your bills and stay out of jail. My Uncle Leonard, you know, he couldn't do any of that shit. But I think he was married 5 times, had at least 6 kids we know of, and I'm sure a bunch that we don't. You know, and did more drugs than the rest of the state of Michigan, because that's where I'm from. I can remember at one point in time, my Uncle Len was living in a shed on my dad's piece of property, and I mean like a garden shed. And he had women 30 years younger than him showing up to his shed for a good time. So, kind of an interesting thing. I don't know. Yeah, well, this is interesting. It's like I'd show up to my grandma's house. We called it the cabin. It was kind of like a little flop house. But my Aunt Marilyn was living there. She was another one that never really quite got the adulting thing. What she did for a living was she went to flea markets and sold clothes for concrete geese. So you'd show up there to hang out with Aunt Marilyn, and she'd have us rolling her cigarettes and playing cards, and we'd be smoking our candy cigarettes, because that's what we got, you know. That's what she did. We went down to the corner store, they'd buy themselves cigarettes, get some candy cigarettes for all the kids, and pass them out, and they'd have us roll the cigarettes for them while we were sitting there, you know. But yeah, no, I can remember one time, you know, and that's the other thing about these people that are grown but not adulting. They show up in the weirdest fucking places. I remember one time school was closed up in Michigan for inclement weather because it was a bad snowstorm, whatever. So I went and picked my buddy up on my motorcycle and went ice fishing, because that's what you do. Got out there, found my Uncle Leonard and one of his friends, Scott, I think, out there. Uncle Leonard's in a sweater that has this all cut out and a big V-neck cut, and they're out there ice fishing, talking to each other. And Scott, you know, asked my Uncle Leonard, said, if you had what would you choose? If you could have $1 million or $1 million worth of cocaine. Uncle Len didn't skip a beat. He said, I'd take the cocaine because you can get money and women with cocaine. Then he looks over at me and says, you know, you put a little bit on the end of your tallywhacker, she's going to call you Superman too. Like, all right, huh? I believe you. I know you've done it. But, yeah. I don't know. Adulting's difficult. Adulting's one of those things like you grew up thinking about adult shit, like whooping people's ass if they offend you. That's kind of the opposite of adulting. That gets you into that go to jail thing that my dad was talking about. Sometimes it's tough not to do that shit. I remember we had our first family get together with my dad's family. I think it was at my cousin Sherry's graduation party. And I don't know what her boyfriend at the time said or did, but I do know that he wound up with Uncle Leonard's cowboy boot imprints all over his ribs and on his face. Yeah, it's not really adulting, but it is adult shit. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've been funny or scary today, but, you know.
A little bit of both.
Well, you know, hey, that's just the way it was, you know. Yeah, well, thank you all. Hopefully it was
All right. All right, let's unload this. You stand right there. You come over here. Don't be scared of me. Dang, what's wrong with you? You got to stay in the camera, man, because I'm going to use this to exploit you. You said your dad was the only adult in your family, and then he said all you got to do to be an adult is pay your bills, stay out of jail. Don't be like your dumbass uncles. Is that what you said?
pretty much.
All right, and then you said that the good time women came to the shed, and then you was like, I don't know how that works. How that works is he pays them. He does not pay for anything else because he lives in the shed.
No, he lived in the shed to avoid the police for child support, but them women just, they were showing up for a good time. He did not pay them because he didn't have shit to pay
Okay,
anybody.
so unlike Pete, your uncle is obviously fit for a sex scene. He must be like, the women are just like talking to each other at the bar, like, honey, you need to go down and see old Tom's cousin, lives in that shed behind that house where that man's always telling him he needs to do something with his damn life. Well, he'd do something to you. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even got to pay him.
Oh, well, he was a legend. One time I showed up, because I do stuff around construction, but I showed up to a construction site, talked to a guy. We're just talking about
Okay, that was
where we're
more.
from.
That was more. Stop it. Okay. All right. So yeah, he spent all his money on his good time women. That's just what I'm gonna say. I'm figuring that's a good joke. Then you said something about your Aunt Marilyn, and she smoked with cigarettes, and she gave y'all some fake cigarettes to smoke with. I had an Aunt Marilyn. She stole my guitar and took it to the pub. What do you call that place where you take stuff that you stole? The pawn shop. That's correct. And then I went to all the pawn shops and found that guitar, explained to them that my aunt had stole it from me, and they were like, well, where is the police report? And I was like, well, I ain't gonna snitch on my aunt like that. So I never got it back. You said you went ice fishing on a motorcycle. Where is this at?
This is up Benzie County of northern Michigan.
Oh wow, okay, Michigan. Yeah, that's cold up there. In my travels, I've crossed over a few bridges where there was frozen lakes down below, and you'd see all these different colored tents lit up, and it'd be like, I was like, what the fuck are these tents out? And then I realized they were all ice fishing. Did y'all have a colorful tent? What color was it?
No, that was for rich people.
You motherfucker.
We hit a lantern, you know. I can't help it. You go to bougie ass lakes looking for people in fancy
I
ass
mean,
tents.
it was in Wyoming, so you know,
Yeah,
they be having all the money in Wyoming, in Montana. Okay, and you said your uncle said that he would take the cocaine and he could get women and money with that. He can also get prison time. I don't know if he knew that.
I'm sure he knew.
I feel like that's a big part of it we should know about, you know. And then you started talking about somebody beating somebody's ass and footprints on their body, and I just wrote down violence.
Yeah.
Stay away from this dude.
That was a big part of my childhood.
Because I mean, if you're raised in violence, you're desensitized to violence, like I am. And so whenever violence happens, it's not that big of a deal. But I've seen people straight up break down over some violence that was happening right in front of them, like they're in shock. And I'm like, what do you need, a blanket or something? I need to get you some pineapple juice. Are you in diabetic coma? What's going on? Do you need a shot of insulin? You know, that's how it was. But obviously, Duane here would not go into shock if he saw some violence go down in front of him. Lately, I've been watching this new app. Duane, is called Scoops. Don't do it. Don't do it, because this app, you know how they blur stuff you're not supposed to see in the videos on regular social media apps? Well, not on this one. I think this one advertises itself as, if you want to see this dude get shot in his face, you can come to our app and see that. And I was like, let me try this. And I shouldn't have done that because it's disturbed me deeply. And I was already disturbed. I don't know why I'm going off on this tangent about you and violence, but we came from the same place, brother. High five on that. What you got to say, Duane Pete?
All right, so you said that was your first time ever doing stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
It really shows.
Well, that's good.
I'm the mean one. Now, I'll say this about you. First off, congratulations on popping your cherry.
It gets easier from here.
Yes, it
No, it
does.
doesn't.
Eh.
It does get easier.
All right,
Yeah.
but I'll say this. Based off the stories you told, you had an extremely fucked up childhood, which is a great place to start as a stand-up comedian.
All the best comedians have really bad childhoods.
None of us are happy and well-adjusted people, but you already knew that
We're this close from jumping off a bridge.
every day. Welcome to the club.
You're now with family.
So what I'll say for you for some constructive feedback, you got a really good laugh on the cocaine jokes, so include more jokes throughout the anecdotes, because I think as everyone can relate to a fucked up family, and everyone can like appreciate those stories, but if you want to make people laugh, you got to pepper in a joke every couple of like lines. No pun intended.
More cocaine.
More cocaine.
Everybody loves cocaine jokes. You know what I'm saying?
you know.
Also, like you, I'm
Even
from,
these people, they were from the 50s. They were like, yeah, we did it back then. They had it in the
It was
Coca-Cola.
legal back
It was
then.
in the Coca-Cola already. We didn't even have to bust a line out.
If you want to get down,
You know?
cocaine.
That's it.
All right, but I also said I'm like you. I'm from Michigan, so if you say fuck Toledo, I will give you 5s across the board.
Fuck Toledo.
Oh, damn.
Five.
Doug's
Good
from Toledo.
job.
That's rude. How rude. All right, Army, what you got to say?
I'll try to keep this nice and short. Your jokes are good, but you got to get to the point.
Okay.
We're not your cousin or your uncle, and you're sitting there just telling a story. You have to structure it and get to the point. A man and woman get married. On their way to their honeymoon cruise, they stop at the pharmacist. The guy goes in, he grabs a giant pack of condoms and some Dramamine, and the pharmacist says, "Son, if it makes you nauseous, why do you do it so much?" Tell the joke, get right to the point, structure it, and use the rule of 3. Look it up. Woody's telling me my time is up. That's my set.
Build his fucking joke for him. He's like, this is what you do, all right? And this is what you do. You put right in the middle of it all this that I say. Memorize it now. Go.
You know what the problem
I'm just
is?
kidding.
His joke didn't get no laugh, so.
Well, that's because it wasn't
That's
really
because it wasn't
a joke.
structured.
A joke.
Structure it, rule of 3.
See, you say rule of 3, but it's just like you telling him, you got to
Look
build
it
the
up.
characters. You got to
You
set
won't
us
let
up
me
for
do
the
it.
characters. But rule of 3. What the fuck is rule of 3?
Do you really want to give me the time to explain?
No. Okay,
No.
put down the microphone. What you think, Doug?
Congratulations, my friend. You got it out there and you got it done. Good job, and you laid it down. You got some daddy issues. You got some family issues. Yeah, we saw that. It all made sense when you said, but you was from Michigan, though. The only place on earth they still listen to Ted Nugent like he just fucking came out.
Fucking Uncle Ted's always on the
Oh,
tip.
shit.
Somebody told me that. the
Oh
other day.
shit!
Wango Tango.
Still wearing acid wash jeans with holes in them they bought from the store. Thank you, brother. Everybody, give it up for Mr. Duane. That was cool that he got up here and tried it off the whim, not coming down there expecting to do it. That's pretty cool to me. You know what I'm saying? You know.